Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste, good morning, and welcome everybody. I'm very grateful to Revered Mataji and her wonderful team who have put together this beautiful retreat. The Dallas team always turns out a wonderful program. Every year, it's a joy once or more than once, sometimes online, sometimes in person, to come here and attend these programs. So, the light of our lives. This, what we'll do today and tomorrow, is based on one of the Upanishads. We know Vedanta. Vedanta is Upanishads. Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta is the source of spiritual knowledge called the Upanishads, the textual root of Vedanta. But it's only the root. I just want to clarify. I keep saying Upanishads, Upanishads, but it's not just Upanishads. And everything that has flowed from the Upanishads in the last 3,000-4,000 years, the Bhagavad Gita, most notably. But Brahma Sutras, even further afield, Mahabharata. Mahabharata is part of the Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. It's not just Bhagavad Gita. Across the Mahabharata is strewn, gems of wisdom about spiritual life, about the ultimate goal of life, how to overcome suffering, transcend suffering, and so on, attain fulfillment. The Puranas and the vast spiritual literary output of ancient, medieval, and even down to modern India, all of that is broadly included within Vedanta, if you're looking for texts. But yes, back to the Upanishads. So the Upanishads are the root. They are the source from which everything has flowed. Thoreau, he took them to Walden Pond. At least the Bhagavad Gita, I'm sure of. I don't know if he took the Upanishads, because he was friends with Emerson. And Emerson had the best collection of Vedanta books on this side of the Atlantic in those days. And he lent many of them to Thoreau. And Thoreau says, when in this American classic in Walden, when he's in his diaries, he writes that every day I wake up and bathe myself in the light of an ancient civilization, of an earlier dawn of humanity. So this light, we are going to bathe ourselves in that light. The Kena Upanishad is a short Upanishad. I rank it personally as my second favorite Upanishad. The first one being the Mandukya, which is the shortest. The Kena Upanishad is also pretty short and remarkable, very dramatic, fascinating, and very illuminating in the sense of light also. So it starts with a question. Most of these Upanishads are dialogues, questions and answers. They begin with a question, thereby also pointing that the Upanishad, the religion and the spirituality which flows from the Upanishads, does not begin by proselytizing and converting and force feeding you into brainwashing. Can't. It cannot. It has to begin with you have to have a question. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So it begins with a question. And these questions are remarkable. Look at the question with which the Kena Upanishad begins. We will introduce ourselves to the main theme of the Upanishad in this talk. We'll have some time for Q&A at the end today, around maybe 11 or so. Then we can go into Q&A. And then the second session will be a further investigation into what we learned in this session. So we pay attention in this session, but the second session, the approach will be quite different. It's what I call experiential knowledge. It's a lot like a guided meditation. It's not quite a lecture, not quite a meditation. It's something in between, something different from both. That's the second session. But first we start with the question. The student, we don't know who the student was. We don't even know who the teacher was. We just had the questions and answers. The question is a remarkable question. The original Sanskrit also is beautiful, so I chant the original Sanskrit. The Sanskrit of the Upanishad, especially the Kena Upanishad, is a very vigorous kind of Sanskrit. Keneshitam padati preshitam mana kena prana prathama praiti yuktaha keneshitam vachamimam vadanti chakshu shrotram kaudeva yunakti. The student asks, impelled by whom or by what do these thoughts come to our minds? I'm thinking, I'm imagining, I'm remembering, I understand, I do not understand, I'm desiring, I love, I hate, like and dislike. This is my life, my thoughts, my inner life. But by what power, by what light am I getting these experiences, which I call thoughts, feelings? All of that, our entire inner life, impelled by what? Instigated by what? Lit up by what light? By what light am I having the experience of seeing, of hearing, of smelling, of tasting, of touching? These words which emerge from within me, in my mind and then through my tongue, by what light are these, what is experience of speaking, of uttering words? It's not just words. The speaking, walk, that is speech, that stands for all other motor actions also, not just sensory experiences, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, but also speaking, walking, grasping, working, whatever we are doing, playing. All of these are experiences. And the question is, how am I having these experiences? They're all diverse. Look at the subtlety and sophistication of the question. When you think about seeing, hearing, thinking, if you look at it in a sense of science and medicine, these are super specialties. Yeah. It's not a question about ophthalmology. If you want to know how am I seeing, there are books and books and books, shelves of books on how the eyes function. There's a subject called ophthalmology, optometry. How to, the vision, the lenses, glasses, and then deeper, the neurons, all of that, how is it functioning? That's one subject, quite different from how our ears function. What is that? Ear, nose, throat, ENT, doctor is. So it's a specialization. Books and books, departments and departments are there which are specializing in that. This is not a question about ENT. No, it is interesting. You're asking about eyes, you're asking about ears, but it's not a question about eyes and ears. It's asking a question about the conscious experience of seeing, the experience of hearing. Thinking, it's not a question about psychology. How am I thinking? No, it's not a psychological question. It's not a physiological question. It's not a question about ophthalmology or about my ears, about speech. No. It is not many questions also. It looks like a series of questions, and they should be different. In fact, a scientist, Minsky, he was a mathematician at Harvard, he had passed away. But in one place I saw online a talk he's giving about consciousness, and he's a skeptic about consciousness. He says, there's no such single thing as consciousness. There are separate problems, problem of vision, problem of hearing, problem of speaking, or thinking. Almost the same language unwittingly, of course. Professor Minsky was not quoting Kena Upanishad, but his approach is exactly diametrically opposite of what the student is asking in Kena Upanishad. He says they're all separate problems and we have not understood them fully. That's why we are putting them in one basket and calling them problem of consciousness. There's no problem of consciousness. There's only you have to understand how eyes function, how ears function. Now, that is utterly wrong-headed. There is such a thing as consciousness. And it's not a small thing. It's at the core, at the center of our lives. Subtract anything from our lives, subtract people from our lives, subtract a limb from the body. I'm still there as a conscious being. Subtract vision. I can't see, I'm blind, but I'm conscious. I'm conscious of being blind. But remove consciousness. What's remaining of you as the sentient being, as the person? Nothing. Nothing remains. So he's asking a question about consciousness itself and its various manifestations as the diverse experiences of life. He's asking, the question itself has so much depth. It's defining our lives as what? Experience. What is your life? You're thinking, you're feeling, you're imagining, you're desiring, you're speaking, you're acting, doing stuff. You see, hear, smell, taste, touch. All of this is your life. Tell me differently. Is there anything beyond this which you call life? No. So he's asking a question that the essence of this life is just experiences. And the way he's putting the question is, all these experiences, they have a heart, a center, a core, because of which all these experiences are possible. Does he know the answer? No. He's intuiting it. He feels that, like we all feel, and he's asking the question. What is the heart of experience? What is the core of experience? What makes experience possible? Experience is life. And we all agree our lives are important. At least mine is. Because we are all very, I, me, mine. It's important. At least it's important to me. So I want to know, what is life? What's my life? It's experience. That's the first answer, broadest answer. Then I want to know, what is experience? And the question itself indicates what experience is. Diverse experiences all have a common core, and is pointing to consciousness as that common core. What is the nature of this consciousness which makes my life possible, which makes me possible? And he compares it to a light. Kaudeva yunakti, which bright being illumines, inspires, instigates our conscious experience. Deva, bright being, shining being. The Hindu word for the minor gods, small g gods, devata, it comes from div, to shine, luminosity. He compares it to a light. Consciousness is often compared to a light. Remember, not light like this. This is physical light. Consciousness is not a light like this. In prakasha, the Sanskrit word, often a name for boys in India, prakasha, light, but it has a technical meaning. In what sense is prakasha light? Or in what sense is light prakasha? That which reveals something which was hidden earlier, which was covered earlier. That which reveals is light, is prakasha. So yes, this light is light, because before the lights were switched on, this room was hidden. It was in darkness. And the lights were switched on, and suddenly you see this room. So it is light, it is prakasha, because it reveals that which was hitherto in darkness. But this light too also will be in darkness if you close your eyes. No light. So the light, according to the Vedantic way of thinking, the eyes are also light. For what? For this light and for the world. Because unless your eyes are open, the world will not be revealed to you. The senses are also light. Ears are light for what? For sound, for speech. Light within quotes, prakasha. It reveals. If I put earplugs, can't hear. So, prakasha, the sense organs are prakasha. They reveal their objects. Tongue reveals taste. COVID, what did we lose? Smell and taste, both, or smell? Both. But they're very closely connected. Smell and taste. That's a light. The light was dimmed because of a disease. So we see something was not revealed anymore. Something is there, it's not revealed to us anymore. So these senses are lights. But speech is also a light according to Vedanta. The speech reveals, it transmits knowledge, it reveals, it gives us information immediately, it gives us knowledge about mundane matters and subtle philosophical matters. Speech is also light, prakasha. So in that sense, what is the nature of this light which gives us experiences? The way he's putting it is, there is something at the heart of all experiences. And his intuition, the student's intuition is, it is consciousness, awareness, which is at the heart of all experiences. I read a beautiful phrase in the Yoga Vashishta, the text, describing consciousness. Anubhava matratma. The phrase is Anubhava matratma. I was thinking this phrase is so profound. If we could deeply meditate on this phrase and begin to realize what it means, you'd be enlightened. You'd be a Brahmagyan. You need just that phrase. Anubhava matratma. What does it mean? Anubhava means experience. Matra means just, bare, only. Atma, self. What is the self? The bare essence of experience. So in all experience, abstract out the objects of experience. Abstract out the personality, the subject who is experiencing. What remains? What is it that made it possible? Object, subject, experience. Of course, consciousness. And then this question is a deep question about consciousness. Thousands of years ago. A question which we are asking now in big way. Nowadays, because of, I think, many reasons, interest in consciousness has again increased suddenly. Uh, fMRI scans, so that the brain neuroscience has developed sharply in the last 20, 25 years. So people are feeling that we are beginning to understand our inner lives more closely with the help of scanning the brain. But also the development of computer science, the internet, and especially in the recent times, AI, artificial intelligence. Again, a surge of interest in consciousness, in mind, and in consciousness. What is consciousness? It's a miracle. What is that? We want to know that. Sri Ramakrishna loved this parable of the washerman and the diamond. Indian washerman, imagine a dhobi, an Indian washerman, who collects your dirty laundry, takes it out to the side of the river and takes a rock and scrubs it and cleans it. Doesn't do too good to your fabrics, but he gets it clean and he delivers it back. Earlier, he used to deliver it on the back of a donkey, would come up, but now on his bicycle, or maybe now on a two-wheeler, a motorcycle or whatever. But they use sometimes something to scrub, often a rock. Nowadays, I hope they use a more gentle material to scrub your clothes. This washerman, he found a diamond. And he had never seen a diamond, but he knew it was something amazing. He had never seen a rock like that. Extraordinary. But he didn't know what it was, but it served his purpose for scrubbing. Now he was curious. So he goes to his friend, the vegetable seller, and says, "What is this? Do you know? You are more learned than me." And the vegetable seller says, "It's certainly a strange rock. I'll give you 10 rupees for it." And luckily, the washerman didn't sell it to him. He asked somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. Finally, somebody referred him to a diamond merchant. And the diamond merchant saw it and said, "Wow, this is the biggest raw, uncut diamond I've ever seen in my life. I will give you 10 million rupees for it." The story was 10 crore rupees, but I would try explaining a crore to Americans. It's difficult. So 10 million rupees for it. And the washerman's, all his poverty was removed and he was happy. This is a story. We are like the washerman and we have the diamond. We have found it. No, it's an open secret. We know what we're talking about, consciousness. This is what he's asking, the question. But we don't know its value. Vedanta says you don't know its value. You don't know what you have got. It's a solution to all your poverty, your problems, sorrows and sufferings and struggles in life. It is the meaning of life. It is the answer to, it's the key to unlocking every question that you have got in life. We don't know. And we think we are using it. We have it. It's not that we are unaware of it. We are aware of it all the time. And we are using it. How are you using it? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, speaking, walking, coming to Vedanta retreats. It's all using it. And then, but if our life continues, doesn't make a difference. And sometimes we go and ask somebody, the vegetable seller, what is it? And he tells us that it's nice. I'll give you 10 rupees for it. Don't ask the scientist. Don't ask the materialist reductionist. He will tell you it's nice. I'll give you 10 rupees for it. He'll tell you it's a product of your brain. Some processes are going on in your brain, and that's what is causing consciousness. That's like the vegetable seller, 10 rupees for it. Don't sell it to them. And don't accept that. That means don't buy that explanation that it's just this lump of flesh. Something is going on there that is producing consciousness. They don't know. Anyone who's honest, any scientist, any biologist, any neuroscientist, any one of them, they don't know. The honest ones will tell you we don't know. Those who are ideologically committed to materialism, they'll say it has to be brain. How, we don't know. They have a theory called promissory materialism. We don't know yet, but give us 10, 20, 50 years, we promise we will explain it. This is promissory materialism. The hard problem of consciousness says it's impossible. It's impossible in principle. It's not a question of more investigation, more neuroscience. Patricia Churchland, who's a well-known neuroscientist and a philosopher, she says the way to solve the problem of consciousness is not to do more philosophy, it's to do more neuroscience. Do more neuroscience and one day we'll get an explanation. Promissory materialism. Whereas those who bring up the hard problem of consciousness, like David Chalmers and others, they're saying you can't do it. In principle, you can't explain it. Because no matter how much you understand an object, you'll never get to the subject. So this is where it is at. Finally, you can go to the diamond merchant. You have come to the diamond merchant now. That is the Vedanta sense. And the diamond merchant will tell you about your own diamond. He will give you the right explanation. That is the 10 million rupees you get in exchange for it. You don't even have to exchange it. You keep it and you get to keep the 10 million rupees also. And that will solve all our problems. We'll see how. It's a promise. This is the premise on which we are starting the retreat. And it's a promise. And you get to evaluate today at the end of the second, not the first one, at the end of the second session. I hope we'll begin to evaluate how all this can help us tremendously. If it is at all true, if it at all makes sense. So that's the question. Now we go into the answer. The question is so remarkable. Huh? Right now we are asking this question in a big way. Seminars and workshops and books are being written about it. What is consciousness? I always get these, because I suppose I'm interested, the Google algorithm knows this guy's interested in consciousness stuff. So any article which comes out somewhere in some popular science magazine or something, it is immediately, I get a notification. It's all these articles are of two kinds. One is consciousness explained, mystery of consciousness solved. Every week it gets solved. And the other group is, it's mysterious, we don't know what it is. So every week you will get both kinds of articles. And so whenever I see mystery of consciousness explained, I always add in brackets, explained away. And every one of them, without fail, till now and in future also, every one of them, I'll tell you one principle to look at it. They will point to some object as the explanation of consciousness. It's the neurons. It's quantum this and that. It's not the, recently I saw, it's not the neurons. It is the casing of the brain, which is generating consciousness. It's a field around the brain. Something, object. The moment you come to the object, the proposal, this explains consciousness, you can shut the article and say, thank you very much. It explains some other objective behavior of that, I have no doubt. But this first person subjective feel experience of consciousness, it doesn't explain. It doesn't even come close. Brain is producing consciousness. How? Where? I give this example of, if you go to a car manufacturing plant, you see at the beginning of the production line, you see all the parts coming in from these subcontractors, suppliers. You see it being assembled. And you see at every stage, everything is open. You can go and see, they allow you to see, you can see at every stage how it is being put together. And you see the car rolling out at the end. In consciousness studies, what do you get? You observe the brain and the subtle activities of the brain. And then nothing. If you ask the guy, yes, this is painful. Yes, this is the taste of coffee. Yes, this is what happens when I'm trying to remember a word. This is conscious experiences. And here, tiny bursts of electricity. In between, what happened? Black box. This is called in neuroscience the explanatory gap. It's a jump, big jump. I see these, there's a cartoon which I love. A mathematician is doing equations and his guide, his professor, is watching. So 4 steps are there. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Step 1, lots of mathematics. Step 2, lots of mathematics. Step 4, lots of mathematics. Step 3 is written in big letters, a miracle. And the guide is saying, you need to work on step 3. On this side, If I took this course on philosophy of mind, so I wanted to be acquainted with the latest literature. Not only latest, everything from Descartes downwards till now. Good course, Harvard University, top of the line course. And I found all the articles in philosophy of mind neatly fell as far as consciousness is concerned. Mind, they don't distinguish between mind and consciousness. So as far as mind and consciousness is concerned, neatly the articles could be neatly divided into two groups. One group suggesting something to explain consciousness. Neurological activity explains consciousness. Behavior explains mind and consciousness. Language, it is a confusion of language, explains mind and consciousness. On one side. On the other side are a group of articles which are saying, sorry guys, it doesn't work. For these reasons, your theory is flawed. And this is where the field has been stuck for 300 years after Descartes. It's stalled. Is it possible to get any answer? Yes, we will see. The question has been posed thousands of years ago, and we'll look at the answer today. Just one more example. It just happened a month ago. I was at, I will not disclose the exact thing, in this country, in Texas, in a cutting edge lab where there is nuclear science and there is defense and there is medicine and there is one more. They bring their most advanced robots together and they study it. It's just scientists and PhD scholars and all. So, and it's a very nondescript old building. You will never know what's inside that. But they give tours. If you know somebody, they'll give you a tour. But what struck me, in one place, they're putting in AI into a robot and training the robot to be aware of its environment. By the way, the robots, the most advanced ones, let me tell you, they're extremely stupid. So in one place you stand and there's a AI which scans you. It scans and scans and scans. What's it trying to do? It's trying to determine what you are. And scans you, and it scanned me. After some time it said, 48% probability it's a person. Wow. Only 48% probability. But that also shows how difficult it is. Now, one place I was shown, I'm not revealing any details, so I won't be immediately arrested. So they're training the robot, it's just a hand, to be aware of its environment. And what is it doing? It has a little metal pencil and it's tapping everything. There is a glass, there's a plate, there is a hammer, there is a flower, whatever. And what it does is, like us, we immediately get a feel of what the thing is if you hear the sound. You immediately know two different kinds of things. The robot doesn't. It's aware of an object, but what is the kind of object? Is it tissue? Is it hard? Is it metallic? Doesn't know. We immediately we get an idea of by the sound which it makes. So they're trying to get that into the robot. And why is it important? Because these robots, I asked them, why are you designing these robots to be so human-like? They're human-like. I mean, robots are machines, so why not make them like machines? They said, no, there's a reason. It's not just aesthetics or not just trying to be science fiction. But our idea is these robots are going to be introduced into your homes very soon. So these homes are made for human beings. You have made your homes for human beings. So these robots should be like you so that they can comfortably inhabit your home until they eject you from your home. But what happens is, because the robot, they explain these things. Those who are in robotics, they'll think this is just 101 basic stuff. This is what they're constantly struggling with. One problem is, the robot is interacting with you, but the robot does not know how frail you are. It does not know the difference between how frail a refrigerator is and how frail a baby is. So I saw, when I went to the robots to interact with them, there were warnings, how far away you should stay away from the robot. Like 10, 20 centimeters or 1 meter away from the robot, you should stay away, because it can literally kill you without intending anything. They give the example of a robot which was playing chess. Chess playing computers are old story, Deep Blue and all, but a robot which will actually with a hand, which will pick up the chess piece and put it there. Very simple, very simple. What it did, so the opposite player was, I don't know if you've read about it, came in the news. The opposite player, human player, he or she had moved a piece And the robot has been programmed. You let go of the piece, and then the robot will play its move. Then the robot wants to remove that piece from the board, is going to attack that piece. So how do? You take your piece, put it there, and remove that piece and put it out of the board. Now, this player was thinking twice, had put the piece there and not let go of the piece. The robot grabbed it and broke his fingers. Because the robot doesn't know how frail you are. Now, how to make the robot know we are very weak, we are soft, squishy. So like that, tap. So this is going on. Now, what sense I got out of the whole thing was, and there are robots which are learning through vision, through touch, not yet through smell, but sound. The sense I got was immediately this question in the Kena Upanishad. How is it that we have the experience of seeing, experience of hearing, experience of touching, smelling, breathing, also speaking, walking, talking? How? One thing I noticed was missing in the whole thing, the entire lab. At no place was there any effort to give the robots an experience. They were modifying behavior. To give the robots an experience, you need consciousness. Nobody is asking that question there. They're interested because you're designing this to the students and professors. They are curious. What would it be if that robot became conscious? But what is that consciousness, and let alone how to make it consciousness? No idea at all. Nobody is making it. People are asking the question, what will happen if AI becomes conscious? Let me tell you, this is not a question you need to be worried about. Why? Because nobody is working to making AI conscious. Millions and billions of dollars are being poured into designing and training AI. Tell me how many millions, how many dollars have you put into designing and training AI to be conscious? Zero. Because, first of all, two reasons. One is, first of all, we don't know how. What is consciousness itself? We don't know. So we don't know how to make a robot conscious. We have some vague ideas only. Second, nobody is interested. It doesn't give money. You need the AI to do some job for you, which will earn revenue for the organization. Making it conscious will not add anything, might even be harmful. So this question, when I saw this, the whole point of telling you this interesting story is, this question became stark in my mind. The same seeing, hearing, the same behavior of seeing, of touching, hearing, these can be done without consciousness also. The behavior can be replicated. It's being replicated. You go to an airport, door will open automatically. Is it conscious? No, just a sensor. You put your hand under the tap, water will flow automatically. Is it conscious? No, it's just a sensor. Similarly, robot will play chess against you and break your finger also at it. Is it conscious of you? Not at all. It's a machine. So the question here is not really about seeing, hearing, smelling, not the behavior, not the mechanism, not the brain paths and neurons and nothing, not the muscles, not the eyeballs, not the retina, nothing. The question is about consciousness. Okay, now look at the answer. The answer is remarkable. If the question is wonderful, the answer is even more wonderful. Fantastic answer. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshuratimuchya dhira pretya asmad lokadamrita bhavanti. Remarkable answer. You want to know what gives you the experience of hearing, of seeing, of smelling, tasting? What gives you the experience of hearing? Yes, it is the ear of the ear. What gives you the experience of seeing? It is the eye of the eye. What gives you the experience of smelling? Maybe then by now the student is smart enough. Is it the nose of the nose? Yes. What gives me the experience of thinking? It is the mind of the mind. Experience of speaking. It is the speech of the speech, and so on. By now you'll all be puzzled. What is he pulling my leg? What's he talking about? And then he goes on further. By realizing this, the hiraha, the qualified one, the qualified seeker, by realizing this, by coming to understand this, grasp this, and make it a living reality in their lives, what happens? Atimuchya, pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. One transcends all the limitations, sufferings of life while being embodied in this body and mind, while seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, not just in samadhi, not just by going to heaven, not just by dying, But if you're seeing, hearing, smelling, breathing, then you're living. While living, you've solved all the problems. You're free of suffering. While the body is aging and dying, you're free of old age and death. While the mind reacts with unhappiness, you're at the same time entirely free of depression or misery. While there is pain due to some, maybe a cut or some disease, a discomfort and pain is there. You experience it, and yet you're free of it. Atimuchya dhira. The deep solution to the question of like the problems of life while living, right here, right now. It's the 10 million rupees for the diamond. This is what is being promised. First, we need to understand the answer. What was said? And why was it said in this strange way? That's the drama of the Kena Upanishad, the language of the Kena Upanishad. Extraordinary language, paradoxical language, poetic language, startling, shocking language. At every turn, next verse again, he will pull the rug out from under our feet. We'll see. Shrotrasya Shrotram. You want to know your answer to your question? Yes, sir. It is the ear of the ear. When you hear the language ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, note three things here. What explains this capacity, the experience of hearing? One answer could be, it's the ear. That's the ENT doctor will tell you. That's how you are hearing. Here is the ear. Here is the canal inside the ear. Here is the eardrum. Here is the space. And we learned the structure of the ear as school children. And then the nerves. And then more sophisticated stuff going to the brain. And then you have the experience of hearing. How? Oh, that we don't know. But that's what I asked. How do I have the experience of hearing? We can explain how the sound waves are working. We can explain how the ear is, what is the constitution of the ear. We can explain how the sound waves are registered in the, tympanum. I'm old. Cochlear. Yeah, so we have faded biology classes long ago, class 8 or class 9, I think. And that we can explain. We can even explain somewhat what's happening in the nerves. After that, nothing. But I'm hearing music, classical music. I'm hearing a long, boring speech on how the ear works. How am I hearing it? No idea. Nobody knows. Don't let them tell you any different. They're all vegetable sellers. 10 rupees. But this one knows. And they'll tell us, they'll show us. So the first thing you notice about the language, three things I'm bringing to our attention. First thing is ear of the ear, which means it's something distinct from the ear. Eye of the eye. It's something distinct from the eye. Otherwise, you would have said eyes. How do I see? Because of your eyes. Check it out. Mind of the mind. Speech of the speech. That's the first thing. What we are talking about is not the body. Ears, eyes, not the body. What we are talking about is not even the mind, because he said mind of the mind. One answer could have been all of these as experiences in the mind. That could have been an answer. He says, no, it's the mind of the mind, not even the mind. We're not talking about the mind. We're not talking about our actions, speech. There's a whole school of philosophy in Oxford, 1950s, 60s, common language philosophy, which said all these deep philosophical questions are all linguistic confusions. It was in style for some time, 1960s to 70s. Now it's gone out of style. No, it's not even speech. It's the speech of the speech. It's distinct from body, from actions, from senses, from the mind also. First observation. Second observation. Where is it if it's distinct? Ear of the ear. It is right there in the ear. It is right there in the eye. It's right there in the mind. It's right there in the speech. So we are talking something distinct from this equipment, but also present in this equipment, pervading it, right here. And the third point, I'll explain this further. The third point is, notice, ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, breath of the breath. All this is singular, grammatically. Eyes, ears, mind, breath, and all of these are very diverse things in the body, so complicated. But the answer you're asking is one thing only. The eye of the eye is the ear of the ear of the ear is the mind of the mind of the mind is the speech of the speech. There is only one answer to all of your questions. We know what is the answer, consciousness, of course, but there's one answer to all of your questions. If you want to know about eyes and ears, departments and libraries full of books are there. But if you want to know the experience, first person experience of life itself, one answer. So three observations I have made about this answer given by this teacher. First, it's distinct from the ears, eyes, and nose. It's distinct from the body, distinct from the mind, distinct from our actions, senses. First observation. Philosophers will say it transcends. It is transcendental. Beyond body, mind, beyond time, space. It's beyond. It's not this. Second answer, a second observation about this answer. Since you are saying ear of the ear, you didn't say something entirely distinct from the ear. You're saying it's right there. Therefore, it is right there. That one thing is right there in the ears, in the eyes, in the body, in the brain, in the mind. It's right there. It's right here. Different, but here. And third thing, it is one. It's not many things. You're asked, apparently you've asked many questions about many things, but the answer is always this one. So three things we have said. To understand this better, I love the electricity example. Here is the camera. Here you have the light. The light is illuminating everything. The camera is recording. The fan is going round and round, providing us with breeze. The microphone is amplifying sound. But when they were in the shop, before Mataji bought them here, the light was not giving light. The fan was not giving breeze. The camera was not recording, or the microphone was not amplifying sound. They were not doing any of these things. Now, if I ask a question, what is that one bright thing which got into all of them, which makes the camera take images and the microphone amplify sound and the light give illumination and the fan gave breeze? What is the one thing? You'll immediately answer electricity, Swami, electricity. Good example. Electricity is something distinct from the camera, yet present in the camera. It's something distinct from the microphone, the light, and the fan, but present in the microphone, in the light, and the fan. And it is what, being distinct from these gadgets, makes them do what they were individually designed to do. Electricity by itself does not magnify sound, does not illumine anything, does not capture images. No. Those are the designs of the instruments. But the electricity is different from them, is right there, pervades them, and makes them do what they were designed to do. It is what gives, it is the camera of the camera, the microphone of the microphone, the light of the light, the fan of the fan. And it is one thing. Electricity is one principle. This is a good example. Just an example. Don't stretch it too far. Just like that, the teacher is saying there is something, that one principle of consciousness, awareness, whatever you call it, which is right here, which gives you the experiences which you call life, which you call experience. In Sanskrit, anubhava. In Indian languages also, anubhava, anubhuti. Tell me, what else is life except a series of anubhava, experience? And this is what makes that experience possible. This thing is the Atma, the self of your life. The self, the Atma, the essence, the core, the source, the possibility of experience. Anubhava, matratma. Bare experience, naked experience, experience only. What is that? Awareness, bare awareness only. Consciousness. Not consciousness of this thing or of that thing. Not visual consciousness or mental consciousness or auditory consciousness or tactile or gustatory consciousness. No. All of those things come and go. Behind them there is one light. So this is the observation which the teacher has made. And then he goes on to say, was not asked this, but he goes on to say, what should we do with this? And what will be the use of all of this? What we should do with this is to realize it, this I am. Right now, what's our identity of ourselves? I am this body mind. In the terms of the student's question, I am that which is seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, remembering, desiring, waking, dreaming, sleeping, enjoying, suffering, living, dying, perhaps to live again. This is what I am now. And the teacher is telling us, no, 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 there is something deeper about you. And if you realize I am that light by which these experiences of seeing, hearing, of thinking, imagining, remembering, desiring, working, enjoying, suffering, even suffering, all of these are made possible by this one light. You are that light. Everything else comes and goes, but you are that light. That is the idea of Atma in Vedanta. You are the Atma. So this is what the teacher is saying. At this point, someone, a sort of side question. Someone might say, he could have said this instead of being unnecessarily mysterious. Ear of the ear, eye of the eye. He could have just said, consciousness. It is consciousness. It is awareness. The problem with that is, if you say it's consciousness or awareness, we either will make a mistake. What do you think is consciousness? If you ask a consciousness studies expert, what is it that you study? They will tell you seeing, hearing. They will tell you thinking, remembering. This, all the activities of the senses and the mind. These are what they study as consciousness. He says no. Consciousness is distinct from them. To make that clear, ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind. And yet, don't make consciousness something mysterious. That's also, it happens in spiritual life. You are told there is an Atma. Another word for ghost also. For us, it's equal. Atma and ghost, both same thing. Find it out. Then which haunted house should I go to find my Atma? Ghost. In many Indian languages, Atma means ghost. That's what it has been reduced to. No, no, no. You are the Atma. So in order to point that out, it's right here in the midst of all our experiences, what we call life, and illumining all these experiences, eye of the eye, ear of the ear. Don't dismiss seeing, hearing, smelling. Don't dismiss life. You won't find it otherwise. The diamond is right there. You have a brilliant thing in the washerman store, which will solve all your problems. If you sell it to me, the diamond merchant, you will get 10 million rupees for it. You're an amazing thing in your possession. The washerman will think, wow, where have I kept it? Maybe my wife hid it. I have to go and check. No, it's that thing which you are using for scrubbing dirty laundry. That thing. So it's right here. So that's why this language is used. In order to discern it from everything else in our lives, and in order to show that it's involved in and through everything in our lives. We'll see deeper. This is just the outline I'm giving. In the second session, we will actually we'll take the diamond and show it to you like this. Here. Take a look. But not exactly literally like this, but as very close to that. We'll see if it works. Some might become enlightened. At least all of us, this much is guaranteed. We'll get a good appreciation of what is meant by the diamond and where it is, how it helps us, all of that. So you have to realize it. Then what happens? Atimuchya. You transcend the activities, these experiences, the sufferings, the limitations of life while living. Pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. Going beyond this world, beyond this life, you attain to immortality. This is the result of Vedanta. What is the project? What's the payoff? What are we here for? To transcend suffering while living, to attain deep fulfillment while living. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yam labdhva na chaparam labham manyate tato adhikam. Attaining which one does not think any greater gain is there. You have attained that which has to be attained in life. You have known that which has to be known in life. You have attained, known, done that which has to be done in life. In Panchadashi, the question is asked, why are enlightened beings so happy? What's the cause of their happiness? It can't be money, it can't be relationships. One of the reasons why I became a monk long, long ago, there was a monastery near our house. And I used to see the monks there as a kid. It struck me, these people, they are happy. They seem to be generally happy. In an ordinary sense. I don't know anything about spiritual happiness. Just they are smiling, happy, childlike. They seem to be having a good time. They're quite happy. But how strange. They don't have a car and a house like my dad does. They're not married like my mom and dad. They don't have children like me. I have a kid. They don't have kids. They don't have money. They have a hard life. They get up unthinkable hour of before 4 a.m. in the morning, and they work, and they don't get paid for that work, and so on and so forth. How are they happy? So this happiness here and now itself, that is the result. This is called Jivan Mukti, getting which no greater gain is to be there. You don't consider anything greater that you will get. Having done which, Panchadashi says, Kritakrityataya, you feel you have done that which has to be done in life. You realize what life was for and you have accomplished it. Imagine the joy and the fulfillment of that. Imagine the joy and fulfillment of, I know that because of which, the secret of the universe basically. What lies at the heart of the universe? Not a scientific discovery. If you want to do science, that still remains. You have to do science then. But what is the point of all of this? What is at the heart of it? What is going on here at its deepest level? I know. What I am now, I know. I realize that. And attainment. What is to be attained in life, I've attained it. Life will continue. Krishna then adds, after this, Krishna adds in the Gita, Yasmin sthito dukkhena gurunapi na vichalyate. Centered in which, if you center yourself in that, if you become enlightened, the heaviest of sorrows cannot shake you after that. Which means, will sorrows stop coming? No, sorrows will come. Poverty, struggles, failure, old age, and eventual, inevitable death will come. It cannot shake you. You have found something which, the rock upon which you have built your house. Storms will come, the winds will blow, the rains will come down. It cannot shake you anymore. So this is the result. The way it is put is, Pretya asmad lokad amrita bhavanti. Transcending, going beyond this world, beyond this birth, beyond this life, one becomes immortal. So two kinds of immortality are spoken about in Vedanta, traditional Vedanta. Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Freedom while living, freedom after the death of this body. As long as this body lasts, it will last. As long as it's fated to last by prarabdha karma, it will last. You are free while living. Vivekananda says, heed no more than how body lives or goes. Its task is done. Let Maya float it down. Go thou from door to door and help them from Maya's veil. You can help others in different ways. But your task is done. You're free. And after the death of this body, what is called Kaivalya Mukti or Videha Mukti, the bodiless liberation. The final liberation that you remain as the infinite. You no longer are again. Right now we are being transported from cage to cage, from zoo to zoo. That's lifetime to lifetime. Then you are set free. This is the result. We say, oh, wonderful. I didn't know this is possible. Then, how are we doing for time? We have time, right? But if before questions, yeah. Yeah. So wonderful. I want to realize it. I want to become enlightened. Please teach me, your master. I'm sold. Teach me about this pure consciousness, Atman, Brahman, whatever you want to call it. Teach me, show me. I want to get that result. By the way, a little footnote should be added. The word dhiraha is there. Very important word. Is the qualified person. So certain basic qualifications are necessary for this to work. And that list of qualifications, it's a lifetime struggle to get those qualifications. Viveka, the discernment between the eternal and the non-eternal. Vairagya, the strong, complete dispassion for the non-eternal. I don't usually speak this way, it is hurtful and shocking. Usually when we talk about this, all this is fine, Swami, but my son, stop, Vairagya, say I don't care. My son XYZ, I don't even want to hear it. That is Vairagya. Not only I don't want to hear it, you also shouldn't want to hear it. Vairagya. If you say, no, I can't do that, then you have to ask myself, do I really want freedom? No, I have to do this for my son. Did he ask you? No. Do you want to do it for your son or for yourself? How much of what we do for the involvement that you have in the lives of other people, spouses, parents, children, is their demand, or how much of it is our demand, our hidden psychological demand? You'd be surprised and shocked. There's a saying among monks, Vivekananda used to repeat it, by the world forgotten and the world forgetting. What happens when you become a monk? You walk out of life as such. What does that mean? By the world forgotten. The world forgets you just like that. And the world forgetting. You are forgetting the world slowly. It slowly drains out of you. You are ejected from the world just like that. Nobody has time for you. At the most, I might have some time for you if I can get something from you. It could be money, it could be praise, it could be power, it could be something, entertainment, whatever it is. Pleasure, company, just relaxation. Other than that, not interested. Too restless. Moving on. By the world forgotten and the world for anyway. This is all harsh stuff. People might feel bad. But you know one thing? There's a saying among the monks. If the monastic is too close, it dilutes the monastic values. If the householder is close to monastic values, he only enriches his or her life. You get peace, you get strength while living in that life itself. You just get benefit. So it's good to bring in some of these. So there are these things. Learn from a monk. Learn from a monk doesn't mean that you have to become a monk. You bring in some of those practices and values into our lives, lives are much better, immediately better. I want to learn. Oh, master, please teach me. Show me the Atman. How can I become enlightened? And the master says, see, this is a drama of the Kena Upanishad. I can't. Why not? You know it, right? You're enlightened. No. No? Then why did you advertise this retreat? I thought you were going to show us. I can't. Why? Because it can't be shown. Somebody else then, can you recommend some other second opinion? Nobody else. न तत्र वाग्गच्छति न तत्र चक्षुर्गच्छति न वाग्गच्छति नो मनः न विद्मो न विजानीमो यथैतदनुशिष्यात् न विद्मः, we do not know it. न विजानीमो यथैतदनुशिष्यात्, we do not know how it can be taught also. It can't be. Why not? न तत्र चक्षुर्गच्छति. The eyes cannot objectify. You cannot see it with the eyes. By extension, you can't hear it with the ears. You can't touch it with robot with pencil tapping. Can you get the Atman, Brahman? No. Only that result will be 48% person. So you cannot touch it. You cannot smell it. You cannot taste it. All right. But can you reveal it by language, philosophy, Upanishad? Navagachati, language cannot reveal it. All right, but can you at least understand it? Great philosopher, Shankaracharya, Immanuel Kant, had they at least understood it? No manaha, the mind cannot grasp it. Have you understood it? If you say yes, then you haven't understood it. Then that's not it, what we are talking about here. So it's not an object of the senses. It's not something that can be performed as an action, expressed by speech, conceived of by the mind. So it's useless. There's no access to it. The teacher says, hold on. Second session. There. And the student says, since I paid for it, I might as well. The teacher says, hang on. The second session is there. What's going to happen in the second session? It seems hopeless. Then the teacher says, dramatic language, अन्यदेव तद्विदितादथो अविदितादधि इति शुश्रुमपूर्वेषां येनस्तद्व्याचचक्षिरे. There is a way. Aha, I knew it. It's not ours. It has been transmitted down to us by an unbroken line of teachers, ancient teachers, Purvesham, of teachers and students going back to dim past. Who is saying this? In the Kena Upanishad, which itself is maybe 3 to 4,000, it was already ancient when the Buddha was born. So in the Kena Upanishad, the teacher is saying, what I got, this is an ancient teaching from our lineage of teachers. It worked for me, I became enlightened, therefore, I'm going to try it on you. I'll transmit that to you. Your luck, let's see if you become enlightened. Here is the teaching. So what is that teaching? No credit. This was the sign of genuine scholarship in ancient India. Nowadays, citation, otherwise there's plagiarism, you're stealing my ideas. There'll be, knock yourself out, steal all my ideas. I asked a master whose talks I liked very much. I said, he's in the south of India, in Chennai. I bowed down to him and said, I sometimes feel guilty. I realize I'm using your examples you have used. He burst out laughing and said, I have taken everything from Shankara. You are free to take whatever you like. You're free to. So here is the teaching. What you want to know, yes. It's other than anything that you know. Okay. Something that I don't know. Which is other than what you don't know. What I'm asking you about, this nature of consciousness, it's something that I don't know. If you're telling me it's other than the known, I can accept that. I don't know it. I understand. He says, no, it's other than the unknown also. For us, everything falls into these two categories. A slice, the known, and a big slice, the unknown. Sometimes stuff from the unknown is moved into the known. When I take a course, when I do some investigation, when I open the Google News, and unknown thing now becomes known. Sometimes known things also become unknown. Class 8 biology. Gone. We mugged up, we memorized so much stuff, examination, marks. Where is it now? Most of it is gone. So known thing also becomes unknown. But what we are going to tell you about, it's not known. It's not unknown. It's nothing like the known and the unknown. Then what is it? You can't escape. You can't say that, okay, some unknown thing. No, it's not an unknown thing. So it's a known thing. No, it's not a known thing. What is it that is other than the known and the unknown? There's only one thing. It's not a thing. It's you, the subject. It is to me, the subject, the conscious being, that things are either known or unknown. Sometimes unknown things become known, sometimes unknown things become unknown, or it could be there are things which are entirely unknowable. According to Vedanta, Maya, the nature of Maya itself is unknowable. In the new school in Manhattan, there's a university. It's not new anymore, but it's called the New School. And so there was a workshop on unknown, what is not known. Very interesting. The unknown in physics, the unknown in mathematics, the unknown in history, the unknown in literature. Very interesting. The people from different fields, they came together. Somebody told me there is something called ignorance studies. Yes, studies of, and they're going to, the Routledge or one of the famous academic publishers, they're going to publish a handbook of ignorance. The more you read it, more ignorant you will become. I told the lady, she's a professor from England who is in charge of the project. I said that, do you know it's a vast area of Indian philosophy, ignorance. Avidya, Ajnana, the nature of ignorance. Huge dialectics for centuries. She said, no, I didn't know. Then I gave her some references of professors, philosophers in England, in Cambridge and Oxford, who teach Indian philosophy, who can contribute to that volume. I don't know what happened ultimately. So the unknown, there's a whole field of the unknown. I remember the history professor who had come to that workshop, unknown. So he said something very interesting. Two funny definitions of history. One says history, well-known definition. History is just one damn thing after another. That's one thing. But the interesting thing which he said was that it's well known among historians that the future is fixed, the past is always changing. And he gave examples about something in Greek history, how over a period of 100 years, our understanding of it has changed 180 degrees completely. We thought it was this way, new evidence came, now it's this way, then new evidence came, no, it's the other way. So the past is always changing as our understanding of history grows, and we don't know what the past was. Future is fixed in the sense something will happen, it's fixed. We don't know. Unknown. Other than the known, other than the unknown. All that is known and all that is unknown is an appearance to you, the consciousness. You, the awareness, the consciousness, to you things are known, to you things are unknown. But the consciousness itself, is it known? Is a very brilliant way of putting it. So precise, so compact, other than the known, other than the unknown. Since it is not the known, consciousness, awareness, still answering the same question which was asked by the student. It's a very tightly argued piece, the Kena Upanishad. What is the nature of that consciousness? It is not known. It's not an object of knowledge. So it is unknown. No, it is more than the unknown. It's certainly not unknown. Vivekananda would say in his talks in England, Jnana Yoga talks, you must not go away with the idea that it's unknown and unknowable. It is more than known. First, that is known. Your own existence as awareness is known, and only then everything else is known. So it is more than known. It's not something very abstract. It's more concrete than the concrete. It is, in one sense, utterly obvious. But it's so obvious that we miss it. It is, Vivekananda called it the open secret. It's open. It's literally, once we come to see it, we'll see it's always available, all the time available. And yet we don't see it. Called the open secret. My professor, Buddhist studies professor, Professor Garfield, he said once, fish are the wrong people to ask about water. Because you're always immersed in it, you tend to miss it. It is as obvious as that, more obvious than that. It's just that it's so utterly different from what we know so far that we miss it. We look in the wrong place, we miss it. All right, I'll make a claim here. What is other than the known, other than the unknown? It's a very compact way of saying making some very big claims about consciousness. What are those claims? I thought about it. A couple of years back, I was asked to say that, can you build a roadmap for us from the conventional, materialistic, common sense, let us say, understanding of consciousness as we have, to the Advaita Vedanta understanding of consciousness. Just the philosophical understanding. I'm not talking about enlightenment, spiritual practice and all that. Just what are you talking about? Can you build a roadmap step by step? What key concepts are there? I thought, yeah, it's a good exercise. And here is the roadmap. 5 steps. From what to what? From common sense, materialism, these are not the same thing. Common sense, materialism can be very uncommon. So common sense, materialism, just the basic idea of consciousness, vague idea we have now, or more precise idea which the scientists have or do not have. From that to the Advaita. Advaita, Atma, Brahma, pure consciousness. 5 steps, I will not explain much. 5 no's, 5 negations, 5 neti, not this, not this. See if it makes sense. First step, consciousness is not brain, by which I mean it's not produced by the brain, it's not a part of the brain, it's not a product of some process in the brain. No, it's not brain. Step 1. Step 2, consciousness is not the mind. It's distinct from the mind. Mind of the mind. These are big steps. In the first step itself, we have the hard problem of consciousness. In the second step itself, the distinction between mind and consciousness, which is not at all understood in the modern consciousness studies sphere. Consciousness is not mind. Third step, consciousness is not an object. Everything is an object to consciousness. Consciousness itself is not an object. Huge, huge step. Difficult to wrap your mind around it. Our mind is designed to be wrapped around an object. It's there, and you are it. You can't deny your own existence. And yet, you are not an object. It's not an object. The philosopher Arindam Chakravarti, beautifully, he plays with words. So he said, what's an object? An object is anything that objects to your consciousness. Think of consciousness as a limitless field, and then it runs up against what? Table, shirt, hand, sound, taste, hunger. These are objects They're objecting to your consciousness. And therefore you have, when something objects to your consciousness, they clash. And what do you have? Experience. Anubhava. Consciousness plus object, experience. Okay. So it's not an object, 3. Fourth step, consciousness is not many. But Schrodinger said consciousness is that singular which has no plural. Consciousness is not many. Again, stunning. Because we intuitively feel many people, many minds, many persons, so many consciousness maybe. No, consciousness is not many. And last step, the most stunning of all, consciousness is non-dual, not dual. There is no second thing apart from consciousness. So 5 steps. Consciousness, not brain, not mind, not object, not many, not two. Not two means non-dual, in the sense there is no second thing apart from consciousness. There is nothing apart from consciousness. These are the big claims. And the last one also should make, it is a very curious thing that happens. When you say there is nothing apart from consciousness, that means, if you look back the 5 neti which you had dismissed, not brain, not mind, not object, but then brain, object, then they are also not apart from consciousness. Non-duality means what we had left behind, world, body, senses, mind, brain, objects, universe. We had all left it behind, neti. But non-dual means they do not constitute a second reality apart from consciousness. Somehow all of that must be consciousness too. All right. Some questions before we wrap up? If you want, you can come here and ask a question. Tell us your name. Come.
Pranam Swami, my name is Cynthia. At the restaurant, I always find myself saying, gentle, gentle. I'm very sensitive when an employee kicks open the kitchen door that sways or slams down a plate or silverware, as if it hurts me personally. I feel even these objects are somehow affected, as they carry a presence or a subtle energy. I know they don't have minds or feelings in the usual sense, but from a Vedantic perspective, is it valid that even an inanimate object has a kind of pranic presence? Does pranic energy of a tree transmigrate to the wood of a table?
It's a very good and a very beautiful observation. Ma Sharada is a well-known little anecdote. In her village home, which became an ashram basically, she observed somebody sweeping the courtyard and then tossed the broomstick away when that person was done. And she said, "What are you doing? Everything has its own dignity. Even that broomstick, the time it took for you to toss it away, equal same time and effort it would have taken for you to gently lift it and keep it with respect at its own place." So, why? One reason, first preliminary reason, it's a very good attitude for a spiritual seeker to treat everybody with respect and everything with respect. And a deeper practice of this respect is gentle. What you said, I like that, to be gentle. Be extremely gentle with everybody and everything. That's not practical, Swami. Make it practical as far as possible. Vivekananda said, that society, that organization, that family. He said that society, but I'm adding organization and family. That society, organization, and family is the best where ideals become practical, which enables you to practice, live these ideals. That's a good society. That's a good family. That's a good organization. There's some company which had a slogan, "Don't be evil." Yeah. Google, yeah. Don't be evil. And the opposite, you can see, I had seen a documentary long ago about, there was a company called Enron. I don't think it's, I don't know, is it still around? It's not around. So there basically the unspoken rule was be evil. Yeah. So, I mean, not literally, but so be gentle. For a spiritual seeker, this is very important. It develops the mind needed for spirituality. This gentle behavior, careful, gentle behavior. Saints are always gentle. You will say, no, there are saints who are rough, and yes, they're rough, they'll scold you, but ultimately they're gentle in the sense that is one common quality. Whether they behave sweetly with you or they scold you harshly, they are always your well-wishers. Always. That I found. I was giving an example of Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was a great non-dualist. But those who have met him, I know one gentleman who's met him and went and met him. And reminiscences also about him. He was a rough man. And he would scold quite liberally. And the gentleman who met him and he told me his experience with him. What is your memory of being scolded? He yelled at me. But the one common denominator of all of them, I've seen so many monks, senior monks. Some are affectionate, motherly, gentle, kind. Some are rough and tough. You know, the Americans have a phrase, tough love. I regard their scoldings as lifelong blessings. So inwardly, sometimes you may have to scold. Sometimes you may have to be firm. But inwardly, you're very gentle. You want the best for that person. That person will slowly, everybody will slowly get the feeling you are on their side. Even when you're correcting them, scolding them, you're unconditionally on their side. This is the practical reason. This is the metaphysical reason for that. The metaphysical reason is, we will study soon, is this limitless reality, existence, consciousness, bliss, because it is non-dual, there's nothing separate from it. It's there everywhere. In everything that we experience, that divinity is there. How gentle would you be if Krishna or Ramakrishna or Christ, dwells in your heart? Your beloved Lord dwells in your heart. How gentle would you be with that? How respect is too little a word. How much full of devotion and adoration you would be. Now suppose you have the same divine presence in everybody. So your attitude to everybody is like approaching the sacred. So in the wood, does a pranic presence continue? I would say something more important continues. A divine presence continues. When it may be dead wood, but a divine presence continues. In life and in death, it continues. It's there all the time. What Vedanta says is that there's remarkable, it's you. All right, next, please come. And others also can come and queue up. Those who want, you can queue up.
Pranam Swamiji. I'm Dr. Raju, a medical person. Yesterday and today, it was so profound, you telling us about staying with prashna, staying with the question. We don't generally stay with the question in our personal or even professional life, medical professionals. So that I'm learning to stay with now, not stuck, but staying with. So question is, prashna in Sanskrit, does it mean vichara also? If it is so, it is even linguistically and philosophically, it makes more sense. So prashna.
Prashna is question. Vichara means inquiry. It's the same root from which the word viveka comes, Vivekananda. To discern, to analyze, to separate. Life comes to us as a mixed bag. If you want to understand anything about it, one must discern, one must look into it carefully. Use the intellect to analyze, but also deeply with our entire being, observe this which is presented to us. And it will yield up its secrets. Why? If our goal is knowledge, the method is inquiry. What do you do when you want to know something? You ask the phone, tell me this. Okay, Google. I was waiting for Google to respond. So you have all silenced your phones, Siri or Google or something. It responded. It doesn't. See? Yes. That is inquiry. You ask a question. Tell me this. Tell me that. So inquiry leads to knowledge. Therefore, it's important to inquire. Please come.
I'm Nilesh. Just a quick clarification question on the preparatory steps and how after gaining some of the things from your talks, how it can be used with the four paths of bhakti and, to get the sadhana chaturthaya and maybe develop
Yes,
it?
yeah.
And how does it, help as us for seekers, maybe?
Good. Practical, next steps. So there are these stages. One is an ethical base. Please sit. An ethical base. That is necessary for all spirituality. One, godliness requires goodness. A foundation of ethics. One must struggle. It's not easy. The more we look into our own actions and motives, we'll find it's like a swamp. But one can try, and one should try. That effort is important to clean up our lives, our actions, our speech, our thought. On the basis of ethics, now one enters into the higher spiritual practices. One is a devotional practice. So there are many, many traditions of devotional practices. What is this devotional practice with regard to Vedanta, non-duality? Where does devotion come in? Devotion, love seems to require duality. Remember, non-duality does not exclude duality. Non-duality is that which transcends duality. So that which enables us to see, hear, smell, taste, touch is transcendent. It's also immanent. It's right here where we are seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So in the realm of duality, in the experience of duality, one way of worship, one way of grasping that infinite, that limitless, which we are talking about, is devotion. Swami Turiyananda, who was another disciple of Sri Ramakrishna and a brother disciple of Vivekananda, great non-dualist, he says, this Turiyananda, he says, I am Brahman. To say that suited Vivekananda. It does not come easily to us. So therefore I say thou, thou. He would always say mother, the divine mother. Everything is the divine mother. Everything is happening by the will of the divine mother. I am a child submitted to the will of the divine mother. See, the connection between these two will give a beautiful insight. One Swami explained it so beautifully. The child is playing, the mother is watching. The child gets tired, comes back to sleep on the lap of the mother. And then again it goes out to play. But the mother is watching, even when the child is sleeping on her lap or going out and playing in front of her. What's the mother? It's the mother consciousness, it's awareness. What's the child? It's the mind. Playing of the mind, the mind is engaged with the senses, the five senses, going outward into the world to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, to do work, to play, to do stuff in the world, relate with others. This is what the mind is doing, always outward focused. This is the play of the mind. It's lit up all the time, permeated by, surcharged with, illumined by endless consciousness. That's the mother consciousness. And when the mind becomes tired and every day in the night and it goes back to sleep, goes back to the lap of mother consciousness and stops. The mother is holding it there. This is a beautiful way of putting it. And Turiyananda says, my mother. So a devotional practice. In our tradition, so there are many traditions of devotional practice depending on the lineage and all that, in different religions also. In our tradition, we have what is called Ishta Devata and Ishta Mantra. So a particular form of the divine with a particular meditation mantra, meditation technique and mantra, which is transmitted from the guru to the student. If you want it, then that requires a specific initiation into this lineage. If you are in Dallas, if you're interested, ask Mataji, she will arrange when revered Swami Sarvapriyananda comes. He initiates here, so he can give mantra initiation there. That's in our tradition. So one must have a practice of a worship, a meditation, a cultivation of a devotional relationship. It's very helpful. We are not just intellectual beings. We are not just beings of action. We are also beings of emotion, of heart. Very important. If one does not cultivate the heart and only the intellect, one will get some kind of an understanding, but it won't solve our problems. Then one goes from that, in addition to that, we have a practice of spiritualizing actions, service. That could be service in your temple, here in the Vedanta society, somewhere connected, or it could be in a larger sense, service to consciousness in the form of humanity. Somewhere. This country gives you multiple opportunities for, volunteer activity, service. Internally, you can make it as a spiritual practice. And of course, the core spiritual practice of study of Vedanta, thinking about it and meditating upon it. This is a package. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Yes. You wanted to ask? Okay, please come.
Sorry.
Let him ask. He's there. Those who want to ask, you can just come up here so that I know. Yes, 3 minutes. So just 2 persons. You can ask in the next session. Yes, the 2 of you can ask. Please come.
My name is Mohinder Chopra. Swamiji, you've said there's one consciousness, and I agree. Now, if you're interacting with another human being, could be a dog also, are you sharing your consciousness, or
No.
is it still one
It is
consciousness?
still one consciousness.
Okay, so that's
Bodies are different,
Yeah,
minds are different,
Mhm.
but the consciousness shining in them is one consciousness. That is Vedanta.
Yes.
We are speaking from an Advaitic perspective.
Mhm.
If you go to a Sankhyan perspective, they will say multiple consciousnesses.
Mhm.
But here we are saying it's one consciousness. Krishna says, I am the knower in all fields. I'm the one knower of the field in all fields. You're not sharing your consciousness with the dog or the person.
Mhm.
You and the dog and the person are all one
All one
consciousness.
consciousness. Okay.
Shining. Krishna says, one, undivided in all beings, appearing as if divided.
Mhm.
Like a big pot in which a lamp is burning and there are holes in the pot, you will find different thin rays of light emerging. But there are not 5, 6 rays of light. There's only one lamp inside, source of light. They appear to be emerging from 5 or 6 different holes in the pot. Similarly, all these billions of beings appearing to have their own autonomous consciousness, but behind them is one vast light, and that is shining through all bodies and minds. Vishishta Advaita Vedanta says we are all parts of that vast light. Advaita Vedanta says no part. You are that vast light. That vast light, there is no that vast light except you, and there is no you except that vast light. This is Advaita Vedanta. Tattvamasi. You are that, and that is you.
Thank you.
The last question. We have run out of time? Okay. Can you ask the question in the next session?
Sure.
Okay. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.